Good morning everybody, Calm Biker here. On my way to the office via the motorbike shop in Grimsby, which is a very strange route, but really the office is on the way to the motorbike shop, but I can't go that way because as much as I'd love to, I've got to go to work at some point, and that's after I drop the bike off for its first service. It was quite funny when I took the old bike in and picked up the new one, and I said, well, I'm heading over to Wales at the weekend, so can I get booked in for the first service? So I picked the bike up on the Tuesday and I booked in for the first service on the following Tuesday. I said, how many people buy a bike and get it serviced a week later? And he kind of looked at me funny and went, well, you. So it's done 586 miles. By the time I get it to Grimsby, which is where I'm going, it's going to be over the 600, which is when the first service is due. It also means it's past the first running in point. So there's 2 running in points on this bike. You're supposed to not go above 4,000 revs for the first 500 miles, and then not go above 6,000 revs for the second 500 miles up to 1,000. Which frankly is ridiculous. I don't believe that you can buy a bike with this much power, this much torque, and then never take it above 4,000 revs for the first 500 miles. You would have to have such willpower, such self-control. I can't believe that anybody would do it. Apart from anything as well, 4,000 revs in top gear is just under 60 miles an hour, so it's not even the speed limit on country roads. You'd have to just poodle around town, which is no good for the bike at all. So I thought I'd just tell you how I ran it in, and open up the opportunity for people to tell me how stupid I am. Because I didn't do that. Now, I've read loads about running in while I was working out what to do. Because 1,000 miles of running in is just so incredibly dull. And I have to admit, most of it is because it's too boring to be doing it. So I wanted a quicker way of doing it, or a better way of doing it, or a way that meant that I could actually use a bit more of the bike. Now I read a lot. I read about the hard braking method that a lot of people talk about, but when I read the original article about it, it was about 10 years old, and I'm thinking, well, do I really want to do something that's 10 years old on a modern bike? And also, the hard braking, what seemed to be the original article, was all about racing, and although race bikes might not take a lot of braking in and might end up with more power because of the way the engines are broken in, they don't last very long, do they? I don't want a bike that's super powerful and amazing to ride for about 1,000 miles and then it breaks down and needs rebuilding. So I didn't want to go with that method. So I had a talk with quite a few people. I had a lot of researching around, and I did a somewhere in between. Now it was based on something that a top technical guy from Castrol was talking about, the guys who make the oils, and he seemed to be being honest about it, because he was actually suggesting that for the first 500 miles you don't buy their oil. Now if somebody's giving you recommendations and those recommendations include a lot of buy my product, then it's right to be wary. But if they're saying don't buy my product, well, maybe there's something to it. So what they were saying was, get your bike, get it out of the showroom, and then for the first 10 miles go from about a third of your revs, which on this revs up to about 11,000, so a third of the revs is about 3,600. So from a third of your revs up to about half or 2/3 of your revs. So I was taking it in all gears, well, not all gears obviously, because top gear, that would be naughty, wouldn't it? That'd be breaking the speed limit. I would never do that. So in all gears, except ones that would break the speed limit, from about 3,500 revs up to about 7,000 revs. And I'll kind of show you how. There's nobody behind me, so let's ease this off and go into a lower gear. So I was doing it like this. So I picked 3,000 and then nice acceleration up to, now I won't go up to 7, but this is a speed limit, so I can't. And then ease off, just roll off and bring it back down to 3,000 again. And then off you go again, and just do that for 10 miles. So that's what I did. I then pulled over, took a few photographs that I put on Facebook, and left the engine to cool down. And once it had cooled down, I did it again. But this time, instead of going up to 7,000 revs, I went up to nearly 8,000 revs. And I did that for 10 miles. And apparently that is one of the best things you can do, because it's that very first bit of the braking that's important. And then after that, I rode it normally. And by normally, the way that Tosh put it was, ride it like you're on an IAM session. Oh, there's a lot of crap on the road there. Ride it like you're on an IAM session. So you're not using full throttle. You know, you're just using probably a quarter throttle. And just ride it nicely. Bit of mechanical sympathy, as they say. Just ride it nicely. Don't upset it. Don't go mad. And that'll break it in. So that's what I've done. I've had no problems. I haven't got oil all over my garage floor or anything like that yet, so nothing horrible's gone wrong. And my braking, it got some decent roads to fiddle about with, because I went to Wales, so I was in the Welsh Mountains. I'm going to take the right-hand path here. I was in the Welsh Mountains, so we were up and down hills and you know, accelerating, braking. It was quite an interesting bit of riding. Thanks to Kev, the infamous biker, for organising it. And that was my braking. Oh, a nice weekend away. You can't get much better than that, can you? Now I've still got, in theory, another 411 miles to go now before it's hit the 1,000 miles that they say is a proper braking. Thank you very much. And before I start hammering it up, but even at that point, I'm not just going to suddenly say, right, there's 1,000 miles, I can now hammer it. 1,000 miles is clearly too round a number. What a lovely person. That's 2 today. Thank you. You know, you don't just want to absolutely rag the thing once you've got it to that point, so I'll just build and build and build, really, until I'm using the whole rev range and getting the full enjoyment of the bike. Oh, red light. So that's the method I've gone with. Be interested to hear your comments. When I was reading, it was interesting to read over and over again. The number would change, but 6, 10, a dozen. And it was, if you ask 6, 10 or a dozen people how to run in or break in a bike, you'll get 6, 10 or a dozen answers, and they'll all be different. So that's what I've done. The other thing that I thought about was these demonstrators. A lot of people buy demonstrators and they say, well, it's great, you've bought a bike, basically it's almost brand new, it's in perfect condition, you know it's been looked after. Yeah, right. And it's already broken in, so you don't even have to worry about that. Well, in most cases I believe people have years of good service out of those bikes and never have a problem, which is great. But if you think they've been running according to the manufacturer's recommendations, yeah, right. Once it's got to 1,000 miles, it's probably had 50 people riding it, and not all of those 50 are going to be of spending time under the 4,000 or 6,000 RPM range. I suspect most of them go, oh yeah, I'll take it easy, I know it's been running. And as soon as you're out of sight of the dealership, hey, wheelie! Anyway, I'll leave this one there. Be interesting to hear your comments. Or if you want to do a video response, that would be wonderful too. Shame YouTube got rid of the video response. I used to enjoy that. So, I'll just say thank you for watching, everyone. Ride safe, and I shall talk to you all again soon.